The person you love might be slowly driving you insane, and you're not even aware. The lines you're reading right now could save your life. Because some people can kill you without killing you. They can shatter you without hurting you. And the scariest part? While doing this, they can make you even more attached to them. If you've been thinking, am I going crazy? Lately, if someone you love is telling you, you remember everything wrong. If you've transformed from a strong person into someone who constantly apologizes, you need to read this to the end. Because most of the terrible things that happen to us in life are not done by strangers, but by the people we love and trust the most. This is true not only in psychological matters, but even in murders. Murderers are usually people the victim knows or even loves. There's a type of psychological violence where victims often don't even realize they're being abused. Moreover, while their mental state deteriorates, they don't even understand the reason. And the most painful part? They fall in love with the abuser. The origin of gaslighting. The name gaslighting comes from a film made in the 1930s. In the film, there's a couple named Jack and Bella living in the same house, using a gas lamp in the evenings. But Jack has dark plans against Bella. Every night, he dims the light of the gas lamp compared to the previous days. At first, Bella doesn't suspect the situation. She just asks, "Isn't the gas lamp burning like it used to?" Jack gives the same answer every time. "You're starting to go crazy, you're talking nonsense, you're doing strange things." Thus, he deliberately distorts the truth to break Bella's psychology. This is where the story of gaslighting comes from. To manipulate the person in front of you to the point where they doubt themselves, and to break their psychology so much that they become addicted to you. Just as we condemn people who physically abuse or harm others, this is an equally severe form of psychological abuse. People who use gaslighting generally have narcissistic and psychopathic traits, turning a small problem into a major crisis. In the early stages of a relationship, when something is said very normally, politely, and respectfully about a problem in the relationship, what happens? Just a small criticism. "We have this little problem in our relationship. Shall we solve it?" The other person suddenly makes a huge deal out of it. "You have no right to say that. You've ruined my life. How can you say such a thing?" At that moment, the person starts questioning themselves. "So I must have done something bad. Since they reacted this way, I shouldn't make any criticism, no matter how small." Then what happens? Even in the face of realistic, small, and even big problems, they choose to remain silent. Because when they say one thing, the other person makes 100 things out of it. Constant belittling and insults. Another method used is constant yelling, belittling. What's constantly said? "You're fat. You have a belly. You're big. You're ugly." The person unconsciously starts defending themselves. "But when you say it like that, you hurt me even more." The response isn't, "I'm sorry. I didn't know I would hurt you." Quite the opposite. "You're such a bad person that you feel hurt while I'm thinking about your health. You're both fat and rude." They defend themselves using violence and thus escape. Victims think they actually mean well, even though they call me fat, stupid. Victims are usually the victims of the people they love most. After a while, when they hear it very often, they start believing it. Reversing the blame. When infidelity is discovered in a relationship, what happens? There's evidence. "I saw your messages," or "I saw you going out with someone else," or "someone saw you." An explanation is expected. But what comes is not an explanation of the situation, but the opposite accusation. "You're the one cheating on me. If you weren't cheating on me, you wouldn't come to me with something like this." When such a harsh reaction is given and you're accused of something you saw with your own eyes, if the person isn't completely sure of themselves, they think, "Maybe I'm wrong." Distorting the past. Sometimes problems arise about things discussed in the past and that were certain. When they come up again, what's insisted upon, even if there's evidence? You remember it wrong. You don't know. They defend themselves so confidently that after a while, the person starts doubting themselves. Contradiction between words and actions. What can be noticed in people who use gaslighting is that what they say and what they do are not consistent. While talking, they can seem like the best person in the world, the most loving, the best spouse, the best boss. But when it comes to action, they can behave completely opposite, belittle, treat badly. While appearing very religious on the surface, they can actually behave very immorally, violate others' rights. Therefore, in people who use gaslighting, one should look at their behavior, not their words. Creating doubt by using others. One of the most commonly used methods in gaslighting is using other people to make you doubt yourself even more. When a situation is complained about, you come home late, you do this to me, you do that. The response comes by avoiding the truth. Your mother also thinks you have problems. I talk to your friends, and they also think you're a difficult type. Everyone knows you're dealing with stupid things. At that moment, even though a normal reaction was given because others are being used, doubt about oneself starts again. Moving objects, the most psychopathic method. One of the most psychopathic gaslighting methods is changing the location of objects, sometimes making an object disappear, disrupting the thought process, and again making one doubt themselves. A book is placed on a table. When it's needed, one goes there, looks, the book isn't there. When asked, "Have you seen my book?" "No, I haven't seen it." The book can't be found anywhere. Then evening comes, the book that was put down in the morning is sitting right there. One thinks, it wasn't there in the morning. When did it disappear? When did it come back? What said? It was always there. But actually in the background, the book was hidden, then put back. But noticing this is very difficult. A story encountered during research. A woman is looking for her key and realizes she's experiencing the same thing as the book story throughout the day. She gets suspicious and has hidden cameras installed in her home. She sees her boyfriend hiding the thing she's looking for. Before she comes home, he puts it back in its place. This person is removed from life, which is very normal. Sudden anger outbursts. The last gaslighting behavior type to be mentioned. The person suddenly yelling at the other party, shouting in a way that makes them tremble with fear, but then 2 or 3 minutes later, not talking about very long periods, as if they weren't the one who just shouted, suddenly transforming into a calm, quiet, kind person. The victim thinks, what's happening? They were just shouting, and now they become like this. Am I going crazy? The goals of people who use gaslighting. Making someone doubt themselves and ensuring unconditional obedience. Accusing the person of being stupid and going crazy. But the most terrifying aspect of gaslighting is it's being applied by people who are thought to love you, coming from outside expectations. Therefore, in the gaslighting problem, the most important step to solve the problem is being able to realize that you're suffering from it. How is it understood? The first thing to pay attention to, before that person became part of your life, there was a certain sense of value about yourself. Maybe you weren't such an insecure person. You were good. You thought well of yourself. You loved yourself. But since this person became part of your life, when you look at yourself, you've become someone who hates themselves. You've become someone who insults themselves. You become someone who doesn't speak a single word, even at work. If you became like this after this person became part of your life, and the kind of behaviors mentioned are happening to you, you might be experiencing something like this. The other thing to pay attention to, if there's a constant motivation to apologize to the person treating you this way, to constantly explain yourself and constantly prove yourself, and if you somehow feel like you can't even breathe without permission, you might be experiencing something like this. People who have been victims of gaslighting for a long time lose their self-confidence so much that they experience serious problems even when making the smallest choices. While normally things could be done on one's own before, choices could be made, somehow things could be done in one's own way, but now even when picking up a sock, things can't be done without the gaslighter's permission. Taking the reactions of your environment seriously. If there are family and friends around who love you, the feedback they give is very important. But what emerges in the cases encountered is, if someone is in love with the person carrying out this pressure and psychological violence, reactions from outside like, look, this man/woman has changed you. They're treating you badly can be perceived as they're jealous of our love. They think badly about us. They're giving us trouble. But what should be considered? Were those people known before they entered your life? Or are the people who were trusted before now giving trouble? If this distinction is made, if the people around, even people who don't know each other, are saying this woman/man is hurting you, it's very important to take this seriously. Final point. People who are victims of this psychological violence close themselves off at some point. When it comes to talking to or socializing with people outside of the gaslighting users, unwillingness is experienced. Somehow life resembles the life of a hamster running on a wheel. Somehow violence is suffered, then trying to prove oneself. This becomes so exhausting that depression, anxiety disorders, and other psychological problems are experienced. If more than one of these things is being experienced, one might be a victim of gaslighting. And this is so heavy that as long as you don't say stop yourself and draw boundaries, your own mind is surrendered and its crushing is witnessed. This can cause much more serious psychological problems to be experienced in the long term. It's hoped that what's been told here will help raise awareness. Have you been a victim of something like this? When experiences are shared, it can be assured that those who read will be helped greatly.